Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan and I'm here to bring you another FPL video. In this one, it is my team selection ahead of the final game week of the season, game week 38, fast approaching us. So well done for getting this far and sticking with me, guys. Been an absolutely fantastic season. In this one, it is a little bit of an extended video because we've got a few topics that I want to talk about in this video. Not only just a review of last game week and of course looking ahead to 38, but I also want to discuss some key battles that are happening in the Premier League this weekend, and maybe that will help you decide which transfers maybe that you want to make, captaincy decisions and everything else. So stick around for this video and let's get into it. So let's have a look first of all at the summary of game week 37. 84 points all out, but a net of 80 after taking a -4 last week. So two transfers made. I removed Jack Grealish and Ollie Watkins for Julian Alvarez and Fernandez. So scoring 20 points with my transfers in. Both my transfers out respectively scored 0. So I was starting on a -4, and obviously that's a net success of 16 points, right, in terms of quick maths there. Of course, it has pushed me up the ranks as well. We are ever closer to 50k, which is a great result for me. I really wanted to achieve that top 50k goal. I'm about 7 or 8 points behind that now, so hopefully I can make that up in the final game week. But as we know, guys, it's really difficult with 38. There's going to be so much, or what we expect to be a lot of rotation. Our squads aren't really optimized for the teams that have still got a lot to play for. So yeah, all out 84 points. Very happy with the rank. Let me know how you got on as well. Maybe there was some fluky Trippier bench points. Maybe some of you had like me had Raya come on for that 4-pointer with Edison not featuring at all in the double game week. So yeah, some key points there, but yeah, very happy overall with the game week. So hopefully you guys did well as well. Let's move into then a bit of a breakdown on who I think are the key kind of teams, let's say, that contain the players that maybe we should be looking at for 1 week punts. If of course these three teams here all to play for still in terms of staying in the Premier League for next season, and that is Leeds United, Leicester and Everton. All three teams here have home fixtures, so I'm expecting them to come out of the traps early. They're going to need to put pressure on their opponents and just essentially just try and score as many goals as possible to give them the win, right? So there's some key names here across all three teams. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one individually, but I do think that out of these three fixtures, or these three teams and their respective fixtures, I think I like Leicester and Everton a little bit more. Leeds sometimes can be a bit erratic. Sometimes they're, with Sam Allardyce, a bit more of a defensive attitude maybe. And I think this is once again a game week which you need to be looking at attackers as opposed to defenders. That's not to say that people can't keep clean sheets in the final game week, even if there is rotation, but I just think it makes more sense to go for a striker or a midfielder or a combination of both if you're in the market for them. So here's the guys that I recommend. A couple of yellow flags as well here, so not nailed by any means that in terms of transfers in, but I think there's some very formidable names that when they turn the heat on in the right way, they really can return big points. So you've got Maddison, you've got Vardy, you've got McNeil in there as well. Of course, scored a 21 pointer against Brighton recently as well. So who knows, those individuals could go absolutely crazy in 38 and really finalize and solidify those mini leagues for you guys, and of course the overall rank as well. So that's the first three teams at the bottom end of the table, but there are of course three other key teams as well here to know that are looking at the Europa Conference League. Now, this is the 7th place playoff, if you like, or kind of battle between these three teams respectively. All three can still make it. Of course, Brentford have got the toughest fixture of the three here. I think really the Spurs fixture by far is probably my favoured one in terms of potential FPL output. I think Villa, Watkins and Ramsey absolutely have got the opportunity at home to they've got the numbers, should I say, to convert those opportunities into FPL results. But Brighton, even with a bit of rotation, they have been relatively good defensively. It's just a case of how much rotation De Zerbi puts in, I think, for the squad, and that will determine, I think, how successful Villa can be against them. With Spurs, of course, with Leeds, this is a real tricky fixture because, as mentioned, Brighton have already secured European football next season. Spurs against Leeds. Leeds need to win this game. that it's going to be a very, very open game, I feel. And I think Kane or Son could be huge differentials and captains into this game week, to be honest. I know we haven't seen the best of Son. I have placed Porro there as well, even though I think Leeds may score some goals, if not at least one against Spurs. The attacking output has still been there for him in certain game weeks. So I think he was one to mention there as well. But I really do feel like Kane and Son, this could be their week to go big, and Spurs could really put a stamp on featuring in Europe next season. And then, as mentioned with Brentford, really, really tricky fixture for them. So I'm not anticipating huge returns and probably wouldn't recommend bringing any of them in. But if you did want to go differential and you just feel like this is, the last week territory, it's final week, let's just go for a punt. Let's try and solidify something in the mini league. Maybe in Burma and Wissa are worth it. They have got some very, very good numbers from that attacking perspective. So let's have a look at the next section, which is my transfer. So everything all considered, I haven't made this transfer yet, but I do think that I am going to go for McNeil. It may surprise some of you. I just feel that, it's a value pick. I've only got 0.9 million in the bank anyway, and one free transfer to play around with for 38. McAllister is on penalties, and I think I've got a bit of a bench headache between Wilson and Matoma, or Wilson and McAllister in the starting position anyway. And as mentioned, with Brighton securing Europa League already, I just feel like there could be a lot of rotation. So maybe it makes sense to pop Wilson into the starting 11 and just hope that he features against a Chelsea side that, of course, leaked 4 goals against Manchester United, and then move McAllister on to McNeil, who, as mentioned, Everton have got so much to play for in this fixture, and I think this is an opportunity for him to go big. So I think this is my move. Don't think I'll be taking any hits. I'm just hoping that returns from him, as well as a few other key individuals in my team, just enough to push me into that 50k. But let me know what your thoughts are on your transfers, what you think of the McNeil transfer overall as well. Always happy, of course, to respond to comments on the video, guys. Moving to the next section, we've then got captaincy data. So fleshed out this table as much as I can, really, in terms of what I think are the popular picks at the top, and then maybe some differential choices at the bottom. So we've already spoken about McNeil and Maddison as choices, but not necessarily captaincy options. I think there, when you look at the numbers of where they play, of course, the opposition they're playing, the conceded chances that these guys are conceding, it looks like it could be favourable for McNeil, even in terms of a captaincy option as well. I mean, we're hoping that we'll get leaked lineups, of course, ahead of all of the kickoffs ahead of the 3 o'clock deadline, but all the kickoffs are at 4:30 in UK time. We're hoping that we get, as content creators and as a community, we're hoping we get as much news as possible. And I think that's going to heavily influence a lot of your captaincy choices, including my own. But just in case you feel like, absolutely, I'm just not going to risk anybody in terms of a rotation, or that's not necessarily going to get nailed minutes, I think McNeil is one of those individuals that is nailed. I think also as well, because Everton have got so much to play for, it just makes sense to maybe double down if you're really chasing rank or really chasing those mini league places, and potentially captain a man like that. If you're not and you want to play it maybe that little bit safer, and we do get news of any of those individuals above them that are starting in Rashford, Salah, Haaland, and Fernandes, or Kane, I just think that any of these really could really do something. Of course, I will say my personal choices are in the slimmed down version here of Salah and Kane. I can't, unfortunately, get to Kane without taking a -4, and probably at the cost of Bruno Fernandes, which I'm not really interested in doing. I still think that he's a very, very solid option, and of course he's on penalties. So I think really Kane is the second best option to Salah. If, of course, we got news that Salah wasn't starting and I owned Kane, I think hands down I would be captaining. Am I brave enough maybe to put it on Bruno or Rashford? Probably not. I may just default back to Haaland. But again, it just depends on team news. Maybe even someone like Alvarez could be thrown into the mix here if you own him, if we do get news that he's starting in the number 9 position. But I think in terms of the key individuals, or probably the most popular picks, I think these two stand out for me. Then we move into the next section of the team selection. So in defence, we've got Ederson in goal. Don't really feel like he's going to participate, if I'm honest. I think I'll probably get David Raya off the bench again as an auto sub, but I'm not too concerned about that. Keepers' ceilings are very, very low at the end of the day, and Raya, based on save points alone, could easily score a 4 or 5 pointer. Not to mention City maybe, held off, let's say, in terms of scoring eventually as well. So who knows, but I'm going to play Ederson as he has got the favourable side of that fixture, in my opinion. Then we've got Trippier, Luke Shaw and Estepinian. Luke Shaw did pick up a minor back injury, so unfortunately didn't get the double clean sheet points. If he lasted at least to the 60th minute mark, of course against Chelsea, we would have seen that, but did get withdrawn at the first half. And because of such a quick turnaround from Thursday night to Sunday, I really don't anticipate that we're going to see anything of Luke Shaw. I think that Ten Hag's going to keep him wrapped in cotton wool, as many pundits talk about. And I think the FA Cup final is going to be all eyes on that for us now. Of course, finishing third would be a fantastic achievement for Ten Hag in his first season. So maybe we do still go full out for the win and the strong starting 11, but I think he's at risk at probably being benched at least. So maybe someone like Botman, who's on my bench, will come on as an also sub for him also. But again, the ceilings of these guys I don't think is big enough to worry about. Moving on to the midfield, then we do have Mo Salah, Matoma, Rashford, McNeil and Bruno Fernandes if I go ahead and make that move for Dwight McNeil. Matoma is an interesting one because, as I mentioned earlier, I might look at possibly playing Callum Wilson ahead of him. I'm just banking on, once again, some early team news, hopefully across all of these fixtures to decide on my final lineup. But this is how I've lined up at the moment on the website. And we'll see if that works out for us. Of course, then into the front line, we'll be featuring Haaland and Alvarez against Brentford. As mentioned, captaincy is going to be a really dependent on the team news that we get or any early leaks. I've got it on Mo Salah at the moment. I'm hoping he starts. I think he's probably the most favourable in this squad for captaincy choice. But let me know down below if you've got any plans to do a differential option or who you like the look of this week, guys. And of course, one final point, that bench, as mentioned, I think Raya probably comes in for Ederson. I'm very, very confident that Ederson more than likely won't start. And of course, Callum Wilson versus Matoma, maybe that's something to consider. But once again, guys, let me know in the comments below what your plans are. Any transfer dilemma, benching headaches like me, throw them down there and I will try my best to respond to you. And of course, one final thing before we sign off the video, guys, the mini league for the channel. It's pretty much been very, very stagnant at the top end of the table. As you can see, the top 6 places have all had grey dots. So nobody has moved or kind of shuffled in any way whatsoever. It's only just as you start going 7th downwards that you see a little bit of movement. Jan Aigner still holding true, 3 points ahead of George McGavin currently. Very, very close between them two, and I anticipate it to go to the absolute wire between those. Of course, if either of you do watch this video, do make sure that you keep in contact with me, as of course, whoever wins the mini league will be eligible for that football-related prize. So keep in touch, guys, and of course, we will make that happen for you. And of course, as mentioned, guys, before I sign off here, I just want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you. That subscriber, non-subscriber, any hour, any minute that you've watched of this channel. It's been an honor presenting and essentially giving you this content. It's been an absolute blast this season. Of course, I'm looking forward to the summer break, but I will be back next season with even more content for you. So yeah, probably no video now for a good, I would say, 6 to 7 weeks. If we get some price leaks, stuff like that, I'll probably start doing videos for the new season around that time, looking at the newly promoted clubs, options there, things like that. So plenty of content to get yourself into for the pre-season, which I'm looking forward to. But of course, if you do want to say one final hello, goodbye to me, I will be live streaming on Sunday ahead of the deadline from 2 till 3 p.m. UK time. So tune in for that. But once again, guys, thank you so much for the support this season. Really looking forward to Sunday's games. Take care. Hopefully see you on that live stream or another video soon. All the best. Bye-bye.